For our United Way Spotlight of the Week, I'm joined by Krystal O'Farrell and Keri Frasso, and we're going to talk about youth homelessness. And you're involved with Youth Hub, and that's at Princess and Albert Street.
Correct.
Right, it was the Princess Street Church.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me what that involves.
So OneRoof Youth Hub, we're a wellness center for youth ages 16 to 24. It's a one-stop shop, so youth can come there and access a drop-in program, employment or education supports, housing supports, programming opportunities, counseling and primary care. Basically anything a young person might need assistance with, we've got you covered at OneRoof.
So these are kids who, because I'm thinking all these things that they should be going to their parents for, or maybe a favorite teacher or something. So why aren't they doing that?
Oftentimes there's family conflict, which leads to youth being asked to leave their homes, and so we find them homeless and accessing OneRoof for that extra support.
Oh, gee. So homeless, and that's where you come in, Keri.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about what you do.
So I am a housing first case manager based out of OneRoof. I work specifically with youth age 16 to 24 who are either homeless, living in the shelter, or in tents and sleeping rough, or at imminent risk of losing their housing. And my job is to support individuals in stabilizing their housing and supporting them in finding and securing housing within the community.
Which must be a huge problem. I mean, we're just through with a municipal election, and that was #1. Everybody's hit list was housing. So how does a 16-year-old get housing?
That's just it. It is very, very challenging. Oftentimes landlords and like property managers, they often stigmatize our youth that we're supporting just solely due to their age. It is very hard to support them. One of the most important things that we can do at OneRoof, though, is getting them connected to external supports so that we as a community can go to the landlord when a youth has a viewing and just say, like, these youth, they deserve a chance, ultimately, and they deserve the right to have a roof over their head.
I think if I was a landlord, I would be saying, yeah, but how do I know I'm going to get my money every month? I mean, this is not a charity. I'm a business person here. So how can you answer that?
We often set our clients up with a rental pay direct option. So whether it's through the City of Kingston rent supplement programs, or Ontario Works or ODSP, where the rent doesn't meet the hands of the youth, it's straight to landlord or the property management company.
That would help. That would help, because that's a big one right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Another thing that we can assist with is we have transitional and supportive housing programs funded by the United Way. So 24-hour support staff at transitional and supportive housing units like Rise at 149. Okay,
so there's places that they can go and at least have a roof over their head, at least for that night. But it isn't really a solution.
So our Rise at 149 location is a supportive housing location that houses 21 youth. The transitional program has 8 units available, and they can stay in the program for up to a year. And then they could have the potential to enter our long-term units, which is up until the age of 25. Just to help them stabilize and foster independence and build the life skills they need in order to transition successfully into adulthood.
And again, these are things normally you learn from watching your parents and learning from your grandparents and all that, but that isn't the case with these, so you've got to fill the gap. What are some of the life skills that you help them build?
Budgeting, cooking. Even at OneRoof, we're often teaching young people how to do their laundry for the first time, and hygiene, taking a shower, brushing your teeth, all things like that.
Just those very, yes, how to, budgeting. I think of a lot of adults who could choose a little help with that. Yeah, really, that you've got just this amount of money and it has to stretch. And grocery shopping would be, I would think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. And
how to make use of, even how to cook based on a monthly food bank order, how to work with those items and stretch them out over the course of a month is really important.
Right, and that cooking doesn't involve takeout. Like, there's a difference there. That is not how you feed yourself. And well, there's places to get food in Kingston. Is that something that you suggest to them, that they go to, say, Martha's Table or a place like that, or St. Vincent de Paul? Is that, or do you say, you know what, you really need to learn to cook and make your own meals here?
Well, that's something that OneRoof does. So through the drop-in program, youth can come by and access breakfast, lunch, and takeaway meals, and they work alongside. We have a food and nutrition assistant at OneRoof who will teach them how to cook and prepare the meals.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, golly, yeah. There's a trick to it. It is an instinctive thing, not really. So when you're working with homeless youth, what do you find is the biggest hurdle, the one thing you could almost count on you're going to have to deal with?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the youth that we're supporting, they have a lot of barriers that they face on a day-to-day basis. So mental health, addictions, past trauma. Krystal touched on that a little bit with being asked to leave home. One of the hugest impacts that we have right now is the housing market and the cost of housing within the city. So it's great that we are working with the City of Kingston and with United Way to get funding to offer the transitional programs that we have and the supportive housing options that we have. And the rents up programs so that we can get the housing that the youth need. Yeah, there's lots of challenges that they face, unfortunately.
For sure, and it's also at 16, you haven't finished high school. What is their educational level usually coming in?
It varies, so there's often, obviously, high school dropout around grade 10 or 11 we see. And that's a great thing about OneRoof too, is when they come in to access a drop-in, we can also get them connected to Cataraqui Learning Center or youth employment programs like Restart or ACFOME. So really connecting to all other youth serving organizations in the community to help them move forward with their lives.
Now, I'll stay with you on this, Krystal, because it seems that right now there is a worker shortage. So my logic says that they should be able to get jobs, even without a high school education, because it seems like everybody is screaming for workers right now. Are you finding that that's making it easier?
Yeah, and programs such as Restart, they offer a stipend to employment services, for employment. So they'll pay the first couple weeks if a company hires on one of our youth.
That's terrific. Do people know about this? And the employers, do they know about this?
Some do. I know they're always trying to get the word out. And,
yeah, I would think so. I would think so, absolutely. Yeah. Would you say that's one of the big hurdles, is they're not employed? Like, okay, here's another question. What do they do with their time? They're not in school. They don't have a job. What do these kids, that's a lot of hours to put in. What do they do?
A lot of the youth that we're supporting are heavily entrenched in homelessness. And that's their community, right? Like, that's where they feel safe. That's where they feel welcome. So a lot of them, we're just trying to encourage them to find daily meaningful activities, such as working on their mental health, making sure that they're going to doctor's appointments when they should be, going to the gym with them, and making sure they're using their body and practicing healthy nutrition, and really just encouraging them to come over to OneRoof so that we can get them connected with other services. So that hopefully one day they will be able to secure employment, which will ultimately end their homelessness and secure housing in the community.
So if someone out there knows of someone who is not hooked up with you guys already, how can they get in touch with one of you? Let's say that they are homeless and they've never really heard about you before. How would they reach you, Keri?
I mean, the easiest way would just be to come by 484 Albert or 620 Princess Street. You can come in either door. You'll always be greeted with a friendly smile at the reception desk from any one of us. We have a wonderful prevention diversion team, so you could get connected with them to avoid being placed into the homelessness community. And then ultimately you would get connected with a housing worker or other supports that we could offer you to help get your life back on track.
Okay, and Krystal, the United Way has played a big part in your success. Can you tell me about that?
Absolutely. So previously, before we moved to the 620 Princess Street location, we were in a relatively small building on Berry Street, and with funds from the United Way, we were able to relocate, and now we have a big, beautiful space to host more programs, more services, more staff in the building, and more youth in the building. And then through United Way provides funding to almost all of the youth serving organizations in the community of KFL&A, and through their funding we are able to have supports like Resolve Counseling at OneRoof, or Fuse's LGBTQ2S+ support group for youth, and or substance use counseling with youth diversion. All community partners are there at OneRoof thanks to United Way.
And the United Way was responsible for that.
Yeah.
So another good reason to support the United Way.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.